it's Krista here with Blooms and Brushstrokes. Welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, thank you for joining me and joining in the fun. And for those of you that are returning, as always, thank you so much for being here, for your support, your loyalty, your love, all your comments, all that good stuff. You guys are amazing and you make this channel so incredibly fun for me. And I can't say that enough because truly this is fun for me because of you guys. So anyways, yesterday I didn't record. So yesterday was Saturday. Usually I record Saturday to be able to put a YouTube video for Tuesday. But yesterday I was busy. I did that sale out here. It was called Sip and Shop at the Yacht, which we have a yacht club out here where I live. I live in a resort community in Saskatchewan. And so we had a little shopping day and it was awesome. We had such a great day. I sold out of lots of bracelets. I make these beaded bracelets. And then I sold a lot of bookmarks, almost sold out of cards. And so, yeah, it was an incredible day. We did really, really well. And so I basically I'm doing these sales to help pay for the cost of me going back to university, which is, I'm doing that in the fall. And anyway, so yesterday we made enough money to pay for one class, which is pretty awesome. And I felt pretty great about that. But it was just all around a really beautiful day. We had a great setting. We were right on the water. It was absolutely gorgeous. So I'm so happy for that. And my sister was so much help for me. And if you guys don't know, my sister and I do have a podcast. It's called Sisters Social Call. I will link it in the description for you guys if you want to have a listen. My sister and I have been doing it for over a year, so we have a lot of fun with that. And so she was home for holidays for the last week, and we had just a blast. We did so many fun things, saw so many people. It was really, truly great. So today I decided I was going to do a tutorial with you guys on how you can do a quick floral watercolor painting simply, easily, and quickly. So I'm going to do it from start to finish. I'm even going to sketch it out with you guys so you know how easily you can make something absolutely beautiful in a very quick amount of time. Because you know what, there's lots of times, you know, you want to be creative, but you don't have a ton of time. And or if you want to make a little card or something for your friend for their birthday. Sorry, I got to spray Monty. This is an awesome thing to do for that. So I just want to do that because I haven't done a beginning to finish tutorial with you guys probably since I really first started off, because I was doing the drawing and it took a long time. So now I've kind of steer away from doing the drawing, but we're going to do something very simple with simple shapes to show you guys how easy this can be. And so I'm using my Mungyo Watercolor paints. I'm using Speedball Calligraphy Ink Gold. I'm going to use a variety of brushes, likely my number 8 Aqua Elite. We're going to use the 10-0 liner, the number 1 script. Those are my kind of go-to ones. I think that's pretty much it. We're going to use we're going to use the number 1 micron archival ink pen. So we're going to use all those. Those are the supplies. I will have that in our description as well if you guys are curious as to what we're using. And I think that's going to do it for all of that. So I've taped down my piece of paper here. It's a bit bigger than the size of a card, but honestly, it can be shrunk down. So what we're doing, it doesn't necessarily, it's just a little bit bigger than a 5x7. This is, I think, a 6x9. So it's just a little bit bigger, but no sweat. You can condense it down. I've shown in other videos how to do that. So get all your supplies ready. And I usually have just like the regular 2H pencil. I can't find where I put that thing and it was getting to be stubby. So I just have this 2 regular HB pencil that I'm going to use to draw out our simple shapes. So grab a pencil. You probably don't need an eraser, but I do have one of these ones. I can never remember what it's called, but it's one of those ones that's you can roll on the paper to pick up the pencil line. So it doesn't, you're not rubbing the paper and ruining the paper. So I wish I could remember what they're called. You can get them at any art store though, really. They come in a square and then they end up looking like this. So get all your supplies ready and then we'll get going on with this tutorial and we'll have a little bit of fun today. So yeah, let's get to it, guys. All right, I'm all set up here and we've got our paper. It's taped down. I just use this masking tape, but it's not really sticky. It's pretty, yeah, it doesn't have a lot of stick, but enough stick to stick it down. I got them off Amazon. So I forget what the brand name or the type of paint is that you, or I forget what the type of masking tape is that's good for artists. I forget the name of it, but there is one specific to artists that doesn't have a lot of stickiness and tack to it, so it doesn't ruin your paper. That's all I'm using there. So for this, we're just going to draw out some really simple shapes. So there's some classic flowers out there. You have the daisy. The Cosmo's a classic shape. A peony is a bit more complicated, so we won't do that today. You know, there's the morning glory, the petunias. They all have those similar kinds of shapes. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick to the shape of a daisy or in that kind of realm. And so we're going to draw out a couple flowers here. So we're just going to do our center. I'm going to do a little darker than I normally would just because you guys are following along. So we're going to do a center, and then we're going to just roughly sketch out some petals. So we're going to do something like that, something like that. These are bigger than a daisy, but smaller than a Cosmo petal. I mean, kind of. So we sketched one out there. Oh, it looks a little bit wonky on this side. I'll just rub this down. Oh, and I am using the Canson watercolor paper still. I'm almost all out of that whole big pad, so we'll go with that. That looks good enough. I mean, these are just a guideline. We are going to be putting paint down. We don't need to necessarily follow these exactly. And then we're going to do another one down here. And we're going to have it opening up and away. So that means what we're going to have here is a little bit shorter petal. And a longer petal up here. And these ones are going to curl up a bit. So it's going to give that look of it. This guy's a little bit too big. Of it opening up. It doesn't look so much like that right now, but when we do all our finishing work, it'll really look like that a bit more. So we've got our two flowers down there, easy peasy. Next, we can go in and draw some leaves. Just regular classic shaped leaves. We're going to put them all over and around. This one here, we'll do one coming off the backside there. And we'll do one coming up here. I think that'll be good for those ones. I think those will look good. We can put a little, we can put a couple just random leaves in here. So we'll do one opening up this way. And this is a bit too dark, but what I'm doing here. Okay, so those are the simple shapes. We can do all the details once we get the painting all done. We can do the details with the line work. So here it is. So what we can do with our eraser is go around and just pick up a little bit of that darkness by rolling over it. Or you can just dab it down to pick it up as well, just like so. Just roll over it. Roll over it. Picking up some of that darkness so it's not quite as dark. Like that. Okay. So the first thing we're going to work on is this top flower here. So I'm going to grab out my number 8 Aqua Elite round brush, the long round brush, which is this one here. I use it all the time. And I'm just using my palette, my Mungyo palette here. So if you don't have it, any palette will do. Just pick certain colors that you like or follow along with the colors that I'm doing. I do have my swatches here, so I'll let you know what I'm using as I'm using it. But it really truly doesn't matter at all. I'm not going to mix these colors. I'm going to keep it very simple. So I'm just using the colors straight out of the set here. So for this top one, I'm going to use the Opera Pink. I love using the Opera Pink and the burnt sienna or the raw sienna together, so I like how those look. So I'm going to use those for my first flower. So doing the dot technique, again, this is an easy way. So we're just going to be very simple with it though. We're going to, you know, put a couple opera pinks down. We'll mix a little bit of that burnt sienna. Not too much, just enough. Tap off your brush and go. So we're following similar shape of those petals, but remember those are guidelines. It doesn't need to be exact. And we're just doing this quickly so that you can see, like, don't overthink it. Put some color down, put some paint down, get your brush wet, and go and follow those shapes. I'm going to do one in between here, so we're going to cover both of these petals. Clean off your brush in between every single petal. They can be darker, they can be richer, they can be lighter, because not every petal would, the sun wouldn't hit every petal the same, you know? So make sure that you're not overthinking it and you're just getting in there and putting some dots down with some water. Like so. Very easy, basic. This isn't even too abstract. The center, we want that to be yellowy orange, so I'm just going to go in and get some yellow, just the regular straight yellow off of here, and I'm just going to dot it down. Let it bleed into some of these petals. And going to pick up a little bit of the orange beside it, the yellow orange. Pop it down like that. Okay, just basic. You can see it bleeding into here quite a bit. That's okay. If it's too much, clean your brush off, dry it off, and pick up some of that puddle. If you want to add a bit more brightness into it, grab a little bit of the just straight opera pink on the tip of your brush. You don't want to be too crazy, but you can go in and add some detail around if you want to do that. You can add a few dots in here just for some extra color. Go ahead, but keep it simple. You don't want to overdo it because you'll start to lose the color in here. On our bottom one, we're going to go with the permanent violet. We're going to use some purples. So we're going to permanent violet and indigo actually. So we're going to work with those two. I'm not mixing these at all. This is going to be a darker colored flower, so we're not going to need as much. So we're going to go with the permanent violet close to the center. A little bit of that indigo. That's a lot of indigo, but that's okay. Clean off your brush with lots of water again. You don't have to stay totally in the lines. And go for it. So we're doing these 3 petals at the same time. You can just see how easy it goes. Get your brush and then you can just swoop it up, hit those, come up. Just like so. And then we'll do these last 2 down here. Permanent violet closest to the center. We'll do a couple indigos coming out. Clean off your brush with lots of water. We want this really diluted for these ones. Perfect. I love how that looks already. It's gonna look a little bit wonky, you guys. That's totally fine because we do the details with our pen afterwards, and that's no sweat. So for the center of this one, I'm going to go in with a deep orange, with the vermilion orange is what it's called. This one here. I like the look of that. And we're just going to dot a bit of that in there. Connecting to a few of the petals to get a little bit of that bleeding going on, or that blooming. And a little bit of that contrasting color. Now we can go in with a bit of that lemon yellow just in the center there, like so. If it's bleeding too much, go and pick a little bit of that up. And the same, likewise, if you want to add a little bit more detail, I'm taking a little bit of indigo, popping it down there. Just like so. Excellent. All is well there. Now for our leaves, the leaves are really fun to do because you can, I'm going to take some of this light blue. I'm going to light blue, deep green, and maybe olive green. So we're going to just do one dot of each in each petal. And olive. So one dot of each in each petal, spread about, and then get your brush wet. And we're going on the side. We're going to do a big swoop. For all of these, we're going to do the same thing. One dot of each. You can do a little bit bigger dots of, if you like a color better than the other, then do a bigger dot of that. Add more water. This one I'm going to add a little bit more of that light blue in there and just a little bit of that dark green, not much, and then nice big dollop of that olive. So you can get just different colors and tones and all that going on for the leaves. Very easy and quick to do. Just the thing about it is not to overthink it. And it doesn't need to look like it's coming out of a coloring book. It's okay to have some lines here and there and some different colors kind of bebopping all over. It's no problem. Almost the more free flowing it is, and the more organic it looks, the better it looks, I think. I don't know about you guys, but I like the organic shapes and design. So this one I'm not going to put any of the dark green into because I've got so much of that petal in there. That looks great. Put a little bit of that dark green in this one though. Whoops. And just like this, you guys. Ooh, I got orange on that. Just like so, we have a beautiful painting done already. And this could be it for you. If this is what you like and this looks great to you, then leave it at this. This is a great point to finish at. Of course, if you're going to leave it like this without any outlining with the black micron pen, then you likely would want to take off more of that pencil mark because now you can see that popping through pretty good. But because we're going to go in with line work and we're going to go in with the gold detail, doesn't really matter too much. So that's it with our paint. We're not even going to do a background on this one. I will do a background on one coming up, but for the sake of not being overwhelming, we will not have a background on this one. I think that looks really great. So let it totally dry up and we'll get in there and then we will do our line work with our Micron Archival ink pen, our number 1, which are my trusty pens. I do want to try some that people have suggested to me. I just haven't, as I've said, made it to the art store yet. So we're still working with these because I do have a few of them yet. So let this totally dry up and get out your pen, get out your ink, and get out your 10-0 and your number 1 script because we'll be needing those to finish this off. These two here. Perfect. I'm all dried up now and ready to go with the archival ink pen here. We're going to do a loose line around each petal and each leaf. So I always say the looser you can hold your pen, the more organic the shapes will be. But you also need to put a little pressure down sometimes to get to see the line enough. So we're going to work from the left side over. You guys can see. Maybe I'll just switch this angle up a bit. Okay, so we're working over here. I'm just going to start at the bottom. I'm just going to follow some of the shapes that we have drawn down. You can also have it where you add in a little extra to have it so it looks like your leaf is folded over. And that would make that leaf look folded over. Then we're coming around to this one. So again, it's just really light and flowy. Nothing too rigid about this part. And you can start with the flowers, you can start with the leaves, whatever you want to do. It's no big deal. I just did the leaves first, and now we're going to move into our petals. Oops, I didn't do some of these ones of that. I think those look really good. So up here, and so we're kind of following the guideline we put down before, but just roughly, you know, it doesn't need to be exact. Just like that, and then our last one down here, so we're going around. And you don't have to do the double lines. If it feels too much for you, don't do the double lines because that can feel a bit overwhelming. So don't do that. If it's too much for you, just do one single line. And okay. So I didn't have any of these folding over, which we can go do. I should have done that to begin with, but you know, you can have a little bit of that petal folding over like that. You don't want to do every single one, but they do give that look of it being really frilly and organic and lots of movement in the petals. So it is kind of fun to go in and do that. This, we've got it so it looks down here that the petal's flipping up, but it's nice that that looks like that because it's the closest to us and it's opening this direction. So that gives that look there. Then we're going to do a little line coming up the center, following the shape of the petal. For the centers of the flowers, you can go ahead and just kind of do you can just do a little organic shape around there, loosely. Still a little, there's a little tacky in the center, but that's okay. So there you have it, you guys. Now, in order to do our gold, we're going to use, shake up your gold metallic ink, whatever you have. We're going to use the 10-0 liner brush here, this very fine one. It's beautiful for doing this. And we're just going to go in now. In previous tutorials, I would go in and fill in little gaps in here. But instead of doing the gaps, because we're keeping this simple, we're keeping this very simple, very easy, and quick. Like we want to do something that's not going to take us half the day to paint. So we're going to do some highlights with that, just around the edges of the petals and the leaves, and not particularly staying in within those lines. So we're just adding some highlights around, some little bright gold highlights to give some more brightness into our petals and into our leaves. So this is a very quick, you know, you don't have to take too much time to go and put down this gold. And yeah, make it look really pretty with that gold, but you don't have to do too much. And so I do the gold, and then I will do the splatter in the center, and I really like that splatter. But it's not for everybody, and that's okay. As I always tell everybody in every tutorial, if you don't love something, don't go ahead and do it. If you love it, then follow along to a T. But if it's not really your style, then you don't have to. This is all your art, so just do what feels comfortable and what you like. So you can follow as many of these techniques as you like, or as few of them. So I've got those all done. I'm going to get my #1 script because it can hold a bit more ink on it, and I like to get those big blops of color in the center. So I've loaded it up, and I'm going to tap it down in the center to get that nice look of pollen, but also that kind of flowy look. Keeps it flowy and a little bit organic looking with these splatters. And I just do them lightly all over. So I keep the splatters condensed in the center and then lighten them up as they go. Once you have it all done, go ahead and sign your name if you like to. Some people do, some people don't. I always do with the year so that I can see my progress as I move along in my watercolor journey. We're always growing and evolving as artists. And so we want to keep track of where we're at. So once we're all done, you can let it totally dry or live dangerously like me. Peel that tape off. Oh, that did not work out very good. It peeled some of my paper off. These typically don't, so I'm not really sure why that happened, but do it a little slower than I did. And there we are. We have our painting. Well, you guys, I think that turned out absolutely beautiful. Just like that. So that just goes to show how easy it is to just actually paint with watercolor and to explore with different colors without feeling too technical. So in this exercise with the dot technique, with having simple shapes of flowers drawn out beforehand, it's a very easy practice to do to get better at using the color, using the water, how much paint. This is a super simple practice to do, and you get beautiful pieces out of it. This is gorgeous. I sold a ton of cards that looked very similar to this yesterday, and people loved them. So it's awesome. That's all I can say. I hope you guys have gotten some good tips in this video about how you can just simply create a very quick picture or very quick card with simple shapes and simple dots and managing the water on your paper. Anyways, you guys, that is going to do it for me today. I hope you learned something in this tutorial. If you have and you enjoy the tutorial, share it to all your friends who are curious about watercolor painting. Let them see what's up. And if you like, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel so that so that you won't miss what I'm doing and you'll get to see all the tutorials that come up. And yeah, be sure to engage, comment, let me know what you learned, what you like, what you don't like, all that good stuff. Thank you to everybody who's continuing to support me, for all your supers and all that good stuff. Honestly, it means so much to me, it goes a long way. So thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next tutorial.